I think we're live. I I don't see an error
One can
message.
never truly know.
You never true. I will check it out actually. But all right, so
Right
we
on.
are. Let's pretend we are here. Let's
It's good to see you.
yeah, good to see you too, man. It's been a while. It's been a while. I've been busy.
Yeah,
You've been busy.
yeah,
It's been weekends, and you've been traveling, man.
yeah. I'm not in my usual living room spot. I'm in a different living room in a different part of the world. I don't know if you're familiar with Svalbard. I'm sure you are. Um, it's a set of islands. I can show you. I have the map up if you want to switch to my screen. So, usually I sit here in Stockholm, but this weekend I traveled up to these islands here,
Ah,
north of the Barents Sea, and I'm currently in a little mining slash tourist town called Longyearbyen, um, which is 3,000 people or so, if that. And this morning, well, first of all, it's gorgeous, but this morning there was a fire. And so if you
wow.
see this picture, they've turned it out. They managed to quench it. This is if you see this little yellow house here.
Uh huh.
I'm currently sitting right about where my cursor is.
All right. So
Yeah.
that's okay. That is you. And so the fire was just around the corner, next block,
Yeah.
2 blocks away.
I mean, look, it's not a big town, so this is the town. This is kind of what it looks like.
Wow.
But the fire was a serious affair.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
it totally destroyed two buildings, and so they've moved them, people who live there, to the hotel down the street. And, yeah,
That looks
things are happening.
any casualties by the way? Just no.
No, 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 no. They smelled smoke. Yeah, it's interesting. The buildings here are not. They're all sort of company owned.
Hmm.
Everything is very much up to code. The fire alarms are very serious. Smoke detectors are very serious affairs up here in the Arctic. And yeah, it's wonderful. I love it. You can't go anywhere without a rifle because of the
Oh,
polar bears. Um,
because of
but
the
I don't.
what?
Well, so this generation of polar bears has never known hunting because you cannot hunt polar bears anymore. So they are not afraid. They are kind of large and in charge.
They sure are.
uh,
I mean, I wouldn't mess
yeah,
around with a polar bear.
and I mean, you don't carry the rifle is for protection. So there's a whole, and you also carry signal gun. There's a whole pattern where you have to first use the signal gun, then fire at the feet of the bear, and only if the bear is still charging are you allowed to kill it. And then there's a lengthy
Okay.
police report if you do end up killing a bear that you have to fill out. Um,
But
yeah,
isn't
it's
there I'm sorry, but isn't there a big risk that while you're doing all the safety precautions and the protocol of not killing endangered species, I totally understand that. But isn't there an overwhelming risk that you can actually get eaten by the creature before you can actually fulfill your
yeah.
civic or your
Yeah,
obligations?
I think in the heat of the moment, you probably make some decisions on how closely you want to follow the protocol. It's just like software development.
Yeah.
When you're on a deadline, how many standards, best practices are you following?
True.
But no, it's exciting, and we're gonna go on some hikes while we're here. Maybe do a little day trip here and there. Longyearbyen is
So
a truly fascinating place that's hard to describe.
so you're like hundreds of miles above the polar circle, right? Or what are we talking about here?
Yeah, we're up here. You don't really get much
Higher than that.
closer to the pack ice, maybe in northern Greenland, but we're definitely over the Novaya Zemlya. And these are permanent outposts along Yabin. There is another town called Ny-Ålesund, which is up here.
Uh-huh.
But Ny-Ålesund is like strictly a research town. If you're there, you're there to do research. But they do have a post
They have
office.
a post office, so
It's
right.
the northernmost post office. Oh, and that's got 81 positive reviews. That's nice.
How many
But
reviews?
81.
81.
I've been to that post office.
All right.
But this is
Wow, what a scenery, man.
uh,
This is
yeah, it's not bad.
Look at this guy. What is
You
he doing?
he's I don't know, man.
Did he build this
That's
himself or what's that?
I mean, it certainly looks like it was welded together and on the water.
Wow.
I don't know, but there's an old train. Most of these outposts were either part of the whaling industry at the turn of the last century, or coal industry in the middle of the last century. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a cool place to be. You get used to it.
Yeah. I mean, come on, this is so
You
cool.
must, yeah, it helps to like cold weather.
Yeah, yeah. That was my point
They
exactly. I
also
do
have
not like. I
four
do not
months of
like
darkness and
cold
four
weather.
months of light, depending on the season.
All right.
Um, yeah, but no, I recommend anyone that gets the opportunity to visit Svalbard and Spitsbergen. I mean, who knows how long it will remain here?
Yeah. So yeah, and so you're very close to the Novaya Zemlya, and which means that you're close to the Russian Federation, right?
Yeah,
And all
and
right.
this is an abandoned, actually, Pyramiden. This is an abandoned Soviet mining outpost.
Oh, did they had settlements on that island too, or?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. In violation of in violation. It's tricky. I mean, Svalbard is governed by a treaty called the Svalbard Treaty, and which has Norway administering it, and the other countries can establish research posts. But clearly, if you look at this, I mean, this was a
Wow, this is some
this was an
serious
effort
Soviet
to
Soviet time, Soviet
yeah.
style shit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's untouched. I mean, no one lives there anymore. We'll try to get out there. I'll take some pics, but
Wow.
yeah, you can see. But what's interesting about all the mines on Svalbard, I think none of them, with maybe one exception, has ever turned a profit.
All right.
And do you think it's the Norwegian? If your guess is that it's the Norwegian taxpayer who's bailed them out time and again, you would be correct.
There you go.
um, so it's at least they have a welfare state for companies as well. But yeah, there's Pyramiden, and then there is the one mine that I think maybe was profitable at some point is named after our country, Svea Gruva,
Mm.
which apparently has this super high quality coal, but it doesn't belong to. I wanted to get the Wikipedia link. Where did that go? Oh, there it is. It was sold. I think Sweden claimed it at first.
Really?
In Millenfjorden. No, it was operated by Stornorska Svitsbergen Coal Company.
Okay.
But it
Sounds
was
Norwegian.
sold to. Okay, no, we developed it in 1917. Can you imagine going
Wow.
up here in 1917?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, I just
uh,
to travel back then. I mean, communications is one thing, but to actually physically travel out
yeah,
there back then. Uh, I,
yeah,
I
on
assume
giant,
I assume you came by plane, right?
I did come by plane. You
Mm.
you can sail here. People do.
Wow.
Um, people you even see some small sailboats with wackos. It's excellent. But there are regular flights from Tromsø and from Oslo.
Hmm.
And it was Svalbard was back in the day when we had polar explorers and people were trying to reach the North Pole by hot air balloon. They often, well, almost always left from Svalbard, from Ny-Ålesund. So you have lots of remnants from like Zeppelin and hot air balloon attachments, things like
Wow.
that. Um,
Wow. This is some pretty vintage stuff. I mean, that's just so amazing.
yeah, it's weird. You're really it's against the law to touch any of the remnants prior to a certain year. So it's all these little shacks are still there.
All right. Wow.
So that's
Yeah.
what I'm up to. Uh,
Yeah. So people who are tuning into our channel, by the way, if you're new, welcome, of course. And we are
yeah,
Thomas and Max, and we call ourselves the
we will
Nomads
do
of
some
Code.
coding eventually.
Yeah, and yeah, well, we will, of course, but to be true to our creed of being nomads, apparently Max here nomaded away to the most distant part of the world. I think this
Yeah,
is so cool, and just the thought that we can sit here and hopefully at some point collaborate on programming and not just doing
yeah,
small talk. But the very notion of us being able to do that is amazing. I mean, we just mentioned uh, last century. What was it, 1917, right? And back then the communications were totally different than they are today. And now, fast forward
yeah.
100 years plus, and we
Here we
can
are.
we can stream and we can see each other together and collaborate
Yeah,
and this kind of stuff, which is truly amazing. Technology can truly bring people closer to each other and serve another purpose than just sharing images of kittens or the latest food you had, which
we
is
share we
guilty
share
as
images
charged,
of
but
coal mines.
once again,
We share images of coal mines
yeah,
instead
we
of
share images of coal
kittens.
mines, right, right. Oh.
um,
uh,
yeah, it is different. It is
it
different.
is, it is.
I'm gonna after this stream, I'm gonna go for a little jog, and I will be video calling you, Thomas, and we'll see if the technology has reached so far as to allow my mobile phone
Yeah, the
to use the
5G or
mobile
4G,
network
yeah,
here.
yeah.
And yeah, I think we're 4G here on Svalbard, but it should
That's
be good
so
enough.
awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
amazing. All right.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's. What are we going to do today? I think I've been messing around with Vue a little bit. We did a demo with Vite, which is a build tool that's not at all exclusive to Vue, though it is developed by Evan You, the guy who kind of started the open source project that became Vue.
mhm,
And we both were sort of taken with it, I think is fair to say,
mhm.
Thomas. You can disagree if you want,
Yeah, yeah,
but
no, I fully agree.
and it's uh, we enjoyed very much just launching it, basically looking at the getting started part of the docs and kind of getting a feel for it and how fast it is. In the meantime, you know, I think we should do the same for Vue, just to dip our toes further into knowledge is the lightest burden to learn a little bit more. So my suggestion for today is that maybe I'll drive in the first part and you navigate, and I'll set up a Vue application with no styling. I mean, just really bare bones, and I will do so with Cypress installed and doing a little bit of TDD for some simple features like
Mhm,
conditional rendering, click events, bindings, basically going through some of the standard written in Vue directives.
mhm.
And then, should we get to a point where your fingers are itching and mine are aching, we'll switch over
Mhm,
and you'll drive and I'll navigate.
mhm.
Um, how does that sound?
I think it sounds great. Apart from one thing, I would actually, since since components, you know, in libraries like Vue and other component-based libraries contain logic, HTML, but also CSS. I would like us to do a little bit of CSSing. A, people consume with their eyes, and B,
Yeah,
you rarely develop bare bones stuff. Is there any way
it's
we
true.
could do? I know we experimented with Chakra UI on the Art Nouveau project, and I know that Chakra kind of supports Vue, or am I totally wrong here?
In my memory, I have to look this up, but I remember Chakra UI as being
Strictly React?
React,
Yes.
strictly
Yeah.
React. But I think we can just very quickly look up I mean, semantic is not React specific. For example, we do use semantic React a little bit in the bootcamp.
Hmm.
So if I just do a quick semantic view search, we will probably semantic UI. Well, we'll see. We'll see. That's
But
not
all right,
necessarily a bad thing. Oh, look at this.
yeah, let's settle for that then.
Yeah, let's settle for this. That's
I mean,
exciting. Then
unless
we
we
get to
run
do
into some
something.
big time issues, and let's just like let's do things that are kind of safe. We don't have to play it fully safe, but let's do things that
No.
doesn't doesn't involve us scratching our heads and then pulling our hair out in terms of debugging. Uh,
Yeah.
let's go easy on this one. Uh,
Okay. So
yeah.
we're two React developers. We are diving into Vue. Let's see how it makes us feel.
Yep. Let's kick it. Let's hear it.
Um,
All right, folks. So Vue, and I'm like, I'm totally new to Vue. Which is like I've done some Hello World stuff, which is
yeah.
perhaps not much. No, I mean nothing to
Right.
brag about.
So best practices would be to start with just pulling in Vue in an index HTML document from a CDN and not, do any package managing stuff and keeping things super simple. But then we don't get components and we don't really get an SPA, a single page application. So what I will do is I will start this as a project. I'll clean it up and then I will add, actually, Cypress is going to be added for me. And so the command I'm going to run is going to be npm init vue at latest, which will give us Vue 3. Now, I didn't find a yarn equivalent for this. That's fine. I can still yarn inside the directory that this is going to create.
What if you do npx in it? Will it?
Yeah, I mean, let's try it.
I don't even know why I asked you to do that. Forget about it.
Well, I mean, if we don't try, we don't know.
Yeah.
So let's do it this way, and we'll yarn up, and we'll have a yarn lock. So it wants. Can you see this? Okay, it's a little hard for me to read it.
I'm okay.
Okay,
no,
let's give it. We'll call this testing view name. We're not interested in TypeScript. We're not interested in JSX support. We can always add this if we come against it. And should I add the router now or should I wait?
What is I mean, you've been doing a little bit of Vue. Is routing complicated?
Routing is very intuitive.
Well, let's go for it then.
And very nice. So let's just add it. We're not going to add PNF for state management yet. We will not, though I'm really interested to mess around with vtest, but for now I'm going to leave it out. But this is what I want.
Whoa.
Cypress for both unit and end-to-end. Yeah, I knew you would like this. So yes to that. Code quality, we have our own settings, so I'm going to say no to this.
Okay.
And here we are. So I will go into testing Vue. Let's have a look at what we got.
And whoever is watching us, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I know I will have lots of questions.
Yeah. And so we've gotten an application scaffolded. But the first thing I'm going to look at by kind of a knee-jerk reaction is package.json.
Yeah, and I see that they didn't create a lock file yet, so you haven't bundled. I mean, you haven't.
No. I have not installed anything.
So it's definitely cool to do the npm command to scaffold the application, but then you go on and just use yarn if you want to do that. And we prefer yarn for some reason. I don't even remember why.
It's one fewer words, yarn dev versus npm run dev. Right. But okay, so I noticed a few things right away here that I like, but also one thing that I don't like. And I like that this is extremely similar to how we kind of naturally
Can I ask you a question before you carry on? Did you use the vit command, or did you just said Vue?
No, the built-in the npm init Vue is built on vit.
Fantastic. All right. Gotcha.
But it gives you a few extra layers. So the whole branding for Vue is that it's a progressive web app, right? So you only install what you need. That being said, so if you go the Vue route, and there is also something called Vue CLI, but if you go to their website right now, and it is September 2022, it says that it's kind of on a hiatus.
Okay.
and use the kind of the what's in the Vue.js docs, and that's what we are doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe is subject to change. I have no idea what's going on. I haven't really looked at the commentary. But so yes, the ground layer, that development server, is that really fast VUE one. But now we get this luxury of, actually, let me go back, check this out. We have a Cypress config.js, and this I think you will like, because first of all, look at the spec pattern.
All right.
We can allow ourselves a spec.js if we would
cool.
rather that, and I could just add feature here,
Yeah.
So that's very nice and intuitive. It sets the base URL for us. It sets this, which, like, if I was setting this up for scratch, I would obviously need to look up that I needed to give the dev server a framework and a bundler argument, key value pair. And this we get for free with this build tool. But to go back to the package JSON, and just a few points I wanted to make. It uses start server and test. We get that for free. It's configured. But then here, look, the build tool, or rather, sorry, the VUE command that it passes into these testing commands, preview only works if you have run build first. So this is not going to be, this is for really pure testing, not really test-driven development as I read it. Like, for us, it's much more interesting to actively run Cypress against our test server, against our development server, sorry.
Gotcha.
Because that's kind of the TDD way,
Gotcha.
And so just to bear in mind that we may need to, we will change this probably to just.
Yeah, one would like to know why they chose that.
I think they chose that. I have no idea. Probably because a lot of people in their CI pipeline, they do issue a build command before they run their tests. And then they run the tests against the dist or whatever the application ends up living in, so as to.
Yeah.
But then you and I will run into problems, and Cypress users will run into problems, because we might have, in the build command, we might strip away the data CYs.
Yeah.
So that's tricky. I don't know. I don't know the answer.
No. Which is an interesting point you're making there. So let's see where we are at, and yeah, let's change it to dev now, and we'll see if we can, if we have time, or perhaps in next stream we can actually work with that data CY removal. Have you done anything like that yet, or?
I'm just yarning right now.
No, but I mean, like, in your own research, have you managed?
Yes, I have. Yeah, no problem. No problem.
All right.
I think I might have even yeah, I think I'll show you right now. So first of all, I'm going to do a little npx Cypress open. I don't know if this, well, actually, I don't need to do that, because we already have the, let's find out. We already have the file structure. Yes, so actually, look, it recognizes that it's both have been configured. So if I click on this, out of curiosity, right, you could not verify that this server is running, Interesting. So what I will do is I will kill this, and I will run yarn, what is it that they call it? Test E2E. Let's try that. Test E2E. And this is looking more promising, because now we can see that it's spun up a development. But the 4173.
Isn't this a choice that you have to make?
Oh, yes. No. No. It should have opened. It did not. It could be because I don't have my streaming computer with me. I'm at 74%. It could be just. Hang on. Let's feed it some slow pitches first. Let's just do yarn dev and see what happens. Right, so now we should be running this on 5173. Let's look at localhost 5173. Yep, okay, here is the application.
Yeah, but why doesn't he jump over this hoop?
Say again?
Now, why didn't why did he hang when you were, you know?
I have a theory. Look, when we run dev, it's on 5173.
Uh-huh.
And this
Oh,
preview, you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I need to run yarn build. So, but let me just try to change this to just a vite command.
Don't you have to
And
change the
I will
port?
kill this.
No.
Oh yeah, and I need to change this to 5173. Good eye. And let's try that. So now if I do yarn test E2E, you did get a 200 from the 5173.
Yeah.
And
why isn't he jumping?
oh yeah, there we go. There we
Oh,
go.
there
It
we
was
go.
just
All
slow.
right. Okay. All right.
Okay. And let's see. So I do have to choose the browser because that's not.
So you have to
and
add
it's
it.
yelling about 4173, which is annoying. But let's try this. I may need to change the Cypress config.
Yeah. Probably it's in the config file.
Yeah. Give it a second.
So you didn't feel like bringing your streaming computer with you to the Arctic?
I was trying to pack light, but I think I'm
totally
learning my lesson the hard way, you know. So this will be the last time without traveling without two computers, which is a special achievement in Nerdland. Okay, I'm going to change this to 5173.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And this is looking like I might need to reboot Cypress. We'll see.
Probably, yeah. But because it's a config file. Yeah, right. But yeah.
Or is it smart enough? Yes. 5173.
Oh.
Specs.
All right. Respect.
No, it knew. I hope it knew. Right. The other alternative here is to run a build command before every time I want to run my tests, but I don't want to do that, obviously. Right. So the test is running. And while that is working, let's look at what the test actually says.
Probably. Right.
We get this example. It just says visit, and it's looking for you did it, which we should go green on this because this is just 5173.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, all right. Lesson learned. Bring the streaming computer. Okay, there we go. And we've gone green.
Right. And,
so,
and just to be very picky, may I be?
Yeah.
Can I be an asshole for a sec?
Yeah, be an asshole.
If you go back to the test. Yeah. So line 6 is not how I would, allow my student or do it myself. I do understand that this is a sort of an assertion, but
yeah,
you know me. I would say, CY get H1, and then should contain you did it. You didn't do it. No, but you know what I mean. It's like I would definitely not write assertions like that. It's a big misunderstanding that. So the CY contains is actually for grabbing an element or finding an element, and it's like a implicit assertion, right? Because if you can get it, then it's there. But assertions should always include either the expect statement or the should statement. I've said it. I'm anal about this. I know I'm a
No. You gotta keep them honest. I just trying to. Wow.
All right. So here's the deal. We're gonna
okay. So this is what you get though. You do get an assertion error, right?
I know. I know.
But you're absolutely right. I mean, you should use the right tool for the right job. So um,
It is what
I'm
it
with you
is.
on that one. But that's not why we're here. We're here to. This is interesting. I've never seen a JS config JSON inside the E2E.
Yeah. Compiler options. Yeah, let's take, yeah, geez, yeah, okay. So let me just
Is
do,
this almost like? Is this because they're running the tests against a build? I'm curious.
let me just check it.
Yeah.
What is JSconfig file? This is uh, configuration ID. So JSconfig looks like a Visual Studio thing, but this is
Oh,
clearly this is created by Cypress. So uh,
well,
Cypress config, JSconfig is VS. This is like Cypress error in JSconfig. All right. What? But yeah, I just found a guy that had some issues with the JSconfig JSON file, but that doesn't really, or does it? Let's see. Did you add this folder for ID integration?
is it?
It
Is this?
looks,
I mean, types. Is this like a TypeScript thing that just ended up in?
yeah.
The fact that it's including.
Let's see. You know what? I'm gonna search on the documentation page because now I'm curious, right? So JSconfig, configure tsconfig, VS Code understand the intelligence. Yeah, this is a VS Code thing,
Okay.
I guess.
Hmm. Hmm.
This
Okay.
this is abstract. This looks like an old. In reference type declarations via JSconfig. Let me have a look at your JSconfig. Include support, node module support, target
Now just
ES5,
just
compiler
options for the
options
compiler.
in this triple. Yeah, so there's some directives. If you write custom commands to provide types of definition for them, you can.
But when you hover over this in VS Code, it's all TypeScript tooltips here. This is
Yeah,
for TypeScript.
but
Types
apparently,
is
yeah.
specified type package names to be included without being referenced in a source file.
Mm.
Yeah, this
But
is this shouldn't be
there's
here.
another way of doing that. Because okay. So here's, well, so there is also a very similar file that can be created whether you by yourself or by the, I think when you scaffold the application, if you want to have TypeScript support, then it will probably name this tsconfig JSON rather than
Yeah,
JSconfig JSON. So this is
I think so too.
yeah, but it calls for a little bit of um, right. And you can
Yeah,
also add this data CY and stuff. I don't, yeah, I need to read up on this, but doesn't
yeah.
really matter for now, I guess. But
It's
interesting.
a little out of scope, but curiosity, of course, kills the cat. But since I don't need it, I'm going to rip it out. So let's do some cleaning.
Yeah,
I'll rename you to user visits application, and I'm going to rewrite this. What is going on? Oh my gosh, my poor computer. I'm going to kill Cypress while I do this.
and also I've been thinking about this now because you do not have your
Yeah,
since you do not have your streaming computer. I'm actually kind of curious about VUE more than about Cypress. I don't know if if our users will, our viewers will hate us for this, but I would rather look at Vue, and then we can
Yeah,
return to this testing thing um, in other stream, or if I'm driving, whatever. Let's not
yeah.
put too much pressure
Okay.
on your machine.
So let me then do that. Let me clean out the scaffolded files.
Yeah,
Notice that we do get a git ignore here as well, but it's not git initialized.
which is a bit weird, to be honest.
Now it is. Yeah, yeah, it is a bit weird, but I guess some of us default to a development branch. Um,
I have a question. Sorry to.
I don't know, of
Yeah, you don't
course.
want to do bisect. You will not be back until October, right? To Stockholm.
Yeah, the end of October.
Oh, okay. No, it's too bad because we have this book fair in Gothenburg at the end of
Oh
September.
yeah,
It's in 2 weeks' time.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah. Well,
yeah.
let's not dwell on
Well,
that.
let's not go on that. I would love to go to that one day, but
The Cure is coming to Gothenburg, by the way. Just
I
saying.
saw, I
Yeah.
saw. Um, okay, let's clean house a little bit. So we get an index HTML. This is pretty standard for any component-based library, where we have a little title that will say testing view, and most importantly, right, we get these two things. We get a div with an ID of app, and we get a script, which grabs the main JS file. So that's where I'm going to look next. So in source, in main.js, we have a few imports. And this is nice new JavaScript. So it's just importing the create app. It's importing our app that we're going to look at in a second. It's importing the router because we asked for routing for an SPA. And it's importing our main CSS. And then this is the good stuff. So we could chain all of this, but this is maybe a little bit easier to read. So we create and store an instance of app, which we feed an argument, which is our application. So all of our markdown. Then we tag on the router. This almost looks like a Node.js
like an
Express
thing. Yeah.
thing, right? And then most importantly, we grab this thing that we've now built and we mount it to this div ID app.
Yes.
Right. So that's
nothing. Yeah.
That's the initialization.
Yeah.
So next we
it connects the basic HTML file, the index HTML, with the application, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just the Never World user is greeting us saying, "Oh my God, I love Vue. Way better than React, in my opinion." I don't have an opinion yet. Max has an opinion.
I'm, it is really nice.
Hey
Vue
man,
is really nice.
You never forget your first love, and React was the first SPA component-based library I've used. Well, actually, it wasn't. That's a lie. It was Angular, but I don't know. I like React so far.
I like them for different reasons, but that's where we're trying to get to. So stay tuned. But so this is going to look quite familiar to React, because here when we scaffold this application, note the order of things. I mean, you don't have to have them in this order, but you got the scripts on top, which has this setup keyword, meaning that in the kind of component lifecycle, this is almost similar to component did mount or in class-based React. But basically all the stuff that runs before. And then you have something inside a template, right? And in the template, I can see here, for example, check this out. In Hello World, they're passing down props, right? And those props are not defined anywhere else. It just says it's just here in the actual template. To access these props, you have to do a little bit more more work. So to access these props in the setup, you need to actually run a function called define props, which takes, an object as an argument. And
Yeah, that looks
you don't,
TypeScriptish to me.
yeah, you don't actually need to do this. You could just say message and then string, and it should still work. But this is a best practice.
Okay, gotcha.
This is the best practice. What this does is it allows you to access message in the markup, but because
With the
it's
double,
now
yeah,
with the mustaches, and so you get that greeting. But maybe me going over these files, anyone can do this. So I think what I should do is just to clean this up, try to install Semantic, and get going, right?
yeah. And in the meantime, I
So
just want to say that we got a comment about quasar.dev. I don't know if you've seen this. It seems like
no,
well, they market this as effortlessly build high performance and high quality Vue.js 3 user interfaces in record time.
cool.
Which is of course subjective, but okay. We will add this to our research list. Thank you very much for the idea. I think it will be interesting enough to check it out. Looks like an interesting topic or interesting framework or whatever you want to call it, built on top of Vue. Cool. Thank you for that.
All right. That's awesome, and I'll be checking that out. I'm building. Here we go. Okay, so I have this. Let me delete that. So I ripped everything out of app.vue. And if I remember correctly, also we get very nice. Error messages in Vue. Right, this one, like I ripped everything out of app.vue, and it's like component is missing template or render function.
Okay.
Which of course it is. That's very nice. But anyway, the thing I have to scaffold this is VBase. I forget what the extension is. I think it's Volar. But VBase gives me a few options, and I'm looking for 3. I think VBase, as it is just like this, you see script has this export default func method. We don't need that in Vue 3. We can just give it a keyword. Well, we don't even need to do this, but this is the standard practice. What I don't like about this is that I actually want this on top, but we can debate.
Why do you want it on top? Oh, yeah.
Because the imports are going to go there, and it's just, for some reason in my head, it's more intuitive, but I don't know. If you have a good counter argument, I would be, I would be all ears.
God knows I don't, but yeah.
Okay, so we have a hello world. You may also notice that we still have a lot of CSS going on. So what's the deal, right? Didn't I just rip out everything out of app.vue? Well,
you did it in main.
In main.js, we have this. So if I just comment this out for now,
you will go back. And
here we go. Okay, so it's expecting it's behaving as we expect it. I'm unfortunately going to rip out. Well, that's too bad. But I'm going to rip out these. This is out of scope for us right now.
By the way, didn't you say that you didn't want this? I mean, when you
were
setting this...
when you choose to include Cypress, this is a Cypress component test.
Ah, right.
Unit test, sorry. What they're calling unit tests, which really are component tests, I guess. But you see it's doing a CY mount.
Okay, you do mount and you do props. Okay, gotcha. I gotcha. Right. Well, again, we don't have to spark this.
This is their push.
I'm a little torn about these kind of tests, but I have yet to be convinced that this is actually good. There is too much stabbing, and anyway, I gotcha. Let's not dive into that.
Anyway, we are not going to do any of that. We're not going to use any of these icons. We're not going to use any of these components. So Can I choose everything here and just get rid of it? Yes, I can. All right. So we have an empty components directory. That's fine. I'm just going to peek inside the router. So the router imports create router, create web history. We're going to leave that. We don't have the home view anymore. Well, yes, we do, because I haven't touched the views yet. So one thing at a time. It creates a router, stores it in router. It exports that, gives us a path, gives us an about page. So in views, we have two views. We have a
Could
home
you go
view.
back to the router just for a second? I have a question. I'm sorry, I wasn't fast enough.
Yeah.
Right. So online, so there's a difference between 7 and 10, 711 and 1220 in terms of line 10 component. You're saying home view, and then on line 18 you're saying you're returning a function and you're importing the about view. So is this like a lazy loading kind of thing, or? Well, it actually says lazy load. All right. So sorry, I don't have a question.
So
I just didn't
route
read
level code splitting. Right. So the code splitting, is obviously a performance thing, and or maybe it's not obvious, but right. So we get these chunks that can be lazy loaded, and we like that. So that's why any other component than the root one for the first view, I guess, should be imported using a callback.
Gotcha. Cool. Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wonder if we can we can do that in React. Yeah, but okay, we can lazy load stuff there too. But I actually never do it, which is perhaps a mistake. Awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. We will probably forget about. I'll leave this in for now because I'm going to forget immediately the fact that it should be a callback with an import function. So in the home view, interestingly enough, here, we got the script here. Again, script is on top. It's grabbing the welcome. This doesn't exist anymore. So I'm interested now that this doesn't exist. Are we getting an interesting error? Yes, we are. Let's reload. And right, it cannot resolve the imports the welcome. And does the file exist? So instead of the welcome, can we just have app be the view? And import app. Yeah, we got that import for free. I can delete this, save that, and hello world. All right, so it puts it in a main tag. I don't love this, but because in app
displaying. Well, hold on a second. So in the right. But if you go to the main JS, or what is it called? The index main.js.
It's main.js. So in main.js, we're just saying, hey, look at app.
So you already import app there.
Yeah.
So isn't what you did now, isn't that redundant? I mean, or
it is, and I think it's more when you start adding more views. Yeah, it feels very redundant. I guess you wouldn't really have this in the app.view. In the app.view, you would have import all the components that you need, the kind of root level components.
Yeah.
And in the home view, if you want to call it home view, is where you would choose those components. And those would not be app. They would be hello world or whatever.
Okay, gotcha.
You see? So yes, this you would not do. But don't do what I do. For example, in the about view, it's interesting. They give a template and they give a little bit of styling, and that's it. They're not pointing the about view to any component or anything in their scaffolded code. Right. But that's okay. So I don't want to go into the router first. So the minute I can actually look at a component, we'll do that instead. But right now I'm still just in the cleaning
Gotcha.
phase,
Gotcha. So
which makes me
our
think I
one of our
should,
viewers is saying that you can use slot to create layouts, whatever that means.
yeah. A slot, basically, yeah, we'll try that. We'll try a slot. Basically, if you have a parent component and you, well, it's easier to show than to tell.
Gotcha.
Let me just, shall I create, I'll do this on Craft Academy, I guess. And I will just make a new repository so that we can share this, and I'll call it testing view, and we'll make it public, and we'll create this repo, and right, let me grab that, and let me just do a little, let me tab this so that I have a fresh terminal. And this should be git initialized. Yes, so I can do git remote -v. Of course, this is empty. So git remote, add origin, paste in the URL. And now I should commit this. Is there anything I don't want? No, I want it all. And say scaffolds view project with Cypress. And I'll do a git push origin development, and then I should fork this and rename it upstream, but we can do that later, or I can do that when I pass it over. So for now, this is okay. And you've got all the files. Wonderful. Is there, what's in the README? Okay, so they give you some recommendations for your ID setup, Volar and VS Code. And to get rid of Vitor, which was the original, or the prior version, I guess, of the linter slash tooltip tool for Vue projects. Mm-hmm. Right, and right, compile a minify for production and run headed component test, run entrances. Right. So they're telling you, hey, run build before you run the test command. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting. But that's not why we are here. We're here because we want to do something slightly more interesting than hello world. So let's do that. Let's add a, I don't know, a form component. We can say, I don't know. Well, that's a bit advanced. Let's do a list component first. So we'll do a list of what's something you like, polar animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone loves a polar animal. So let's say polar, yeah, animal list. That's specific enough. And I'll do a little VBase in here with the VBase 3 setup, view single file component setup composition. I don't know. Let me move this up.
Yeah, I got you. I totally see that.
It's so some Googling to be done, but so hello, polar animals. And I get a little polar bear here. And get a regular bear. It's not very Arctic, but that's fine. But the point is, I want to show this off somewhere, right? So let's go into our home view. See, now we're getting somewhere. Mm-hmm. And instead of app, I'm interested in, I get this for free now. Anyone? Yes, I can. Oh, I love you. This is great. Get rid of app. We don't want that there. All right, save this. What have we got? Still in hello world because did I not initialize the router properly? Oh, because, well, you are there. Do I need to give it home view instead? I thought if I just had the index router to home, it should serve the home component view.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course. I can't just have, now it's just looking at app. It doesn't know to use the router. So I have to cheat. I have to cheat because I can't remember how it's scaffolded. But I was a little too trigger happy deleting all the code. So it needs to be, I think I need to initialize the router here. And I can't remember how to do that. So let's turn to our trusty internet docs for the Vue.js docs. And let's look at an example that has some routing. See anything? Crowdfund? No. Maybe these all have routings. Let's then look at the API or ecosystem, might have the router. Where do you live? Where do you live? There, Vue router. Thank you very much. It has its own docs. It has its own docs, and let's look at the getting started. And right, so in our app.use router, you get access to this $ router as well as this. Ugh. This looks like Vue 2, but that's okay. Right, we need to use the use router inside of the setup function. So can I see that somewhere? Can I see an example? Right. It's almost going to be faster to just do this. It's the ultimate laziness. Well, let me go into my desk. Init, view at latest, and then.
Oh, you wanna see how it was scaffolded? I got you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I did this the other day, and memory is good, but it's short.
It sure is. No.
So let's see what we get from this. Here we go. This is what we need to do. We need to grab both the router link and the router view in our app.view. And we need to do this kind of router link inside, well, there do you, well, is this can't be enough, right? They're giving a header, they're doing a div with a wrapper, you did it, and so then they do router link.
Nav and then router link. So you should just do, and then you have the router
where's
view,
the view?
right? So
where's the router view?
Link and router view.
Oh, there it is. Sorry. Check this out. So if I replace this hello world with a router view, and I now go back to, I should be good. Famous last, hey, okay, nice. Okay, so maybe not as intuitive as I first said, but now that I look at it, I'm like, oh, of course it's this. I'm so silly.
No. I think that's so. I mean, and you can have
this is okay, right? So we don't really need the link yet. Okay, great. Which means, right, that we're basically passing through the router, and that allows us to serve different components in different configurations as we choose.
Right.
But we need some data, right? And here, React uses, Vue uses ref for storing data, and or component state, I should say, to be more accurate. And we can do that. So we can say, is it useref? Can I get this for free? Yeah, or is this, did I get this from a React thing? Let me cheat again because I don't want to mess this up. But basically, we're going to say const polar bear is equal to useref, and say polar bear. Now, if I do an h1 here and some mustaches, can I then access polar bear is the question.
Right.
So let's look at that. No, so that's not how you declare it. Am I getting a nice warning? Oh, because I didn't import useref. Very bad. So I got to import. Do I need to deconstruct this? Yeah, probably. Useref from VUE, is that good? Does not provide. Okay. When in doubt, let's look at examples for. Yeah, okay. Import ref. It's not use
yeah,
ref.
that's
That's
what
total
the
React
level one
world.
said. Ref, right.
For shame. And did I get that right? Yeah, ref from view, ref hello world. So now if I go into my browser, we say polar bear.
All right.
Great. Right, we have component state. Now, one thing that's a little interesting is, let's say that I wanted here in this setup to do something to this data, right? Let's say that
But
I wanted to.
before you do that, hold on a second. Now, so ref is a string, right? What if that was an array?
Ref can be an array. It can be an object. It can be a lot of things. Now, can I? Yeah, there we go, and it
Okay,
prints
so
it
this
out.
is not possible to do in React, right? You can't. So you're gonna
There
have
is
to iterate.
another object, kind of one more fundamental than ref, which is, oh gosh, look at that, hideous, which is reactive. And reactive, I don't know what I should call this, binding, or it only really works on arrays and objects for some reason.
Okay.
For some reason, because that's how it was developed. But ref kind of does that and can handle more primitives, which is nice for us, right?
Yeah.
But let's say that you wanted to. Oh, this is a good one. So I'll do another one. Const. We'll say reindeer. Is that how reindeer is spelled?
I guess so.
Okay, we'll pretend. Ref, and we'll just give it a string reindeer. And let's say that you wanted to change the value of reindeer, right?
Yeah.
And so you would say, hey, let me reassign this to say reindeer 2, right? Mm-hmm. And let's say that you had a p tag here, and there you displayed some reindeer, okay?
Yeah.
Now, so what do you think is going to happen?
Well, you can't reassign a constant, first of all.
No. No, you cannot. And you will be yelled at.
But what if you use let on this first const, reindeer? Right, let's try that.
So I didn't think that would work. So that does work, interestingly enough.
That's weird.
For some reason, I thought you had to say, like if I wanted to
Okay,
do a
so
console dot.
we have two comments. First of all, this says we can try Pinia for management, but also if you add dot value on the reindeer, what is that?
Yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to get to.
Mm.
And I'm doing this both both here. Wait, let me just reload this. So interestingly enough, that also confused me a little bit. When I'm doing dot value now, I'm getting
Okay,
undefined.
so if you comment out line 6, just for a sec.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's try that. Right.
I
Okay.
get
So dot
reindeer, reindeer.
value when you are using ref, then
So,
dot value is used. Right. Okay. Gotcha.
but I'm wondering. Yeah, I mean, dot value is kind of similar. It gives you access to a setter. I think like had I done something in here, because you can do a couple of directives with the dash, and then you have a few options. We're going to see all of them, but it's
Okay.
possible that there
Let's
you
try
are
this then.
required to use dot value.
Let's try this. If you say on line 6 instead for reindeer, if you say reindeer dot value equals reindeer 2, I'm curious
Yeah,
what that will have. What will do?
does that allow us? Yeah, so that works. So even though we've declared this as a
Yeah.
constant,
Gotcha.
okay, which I think is better practice,
Yeah. Of course,
because
it must
then
be.
this
Yeah.
constant is the state object,
Gotcha.
and this is the reindeer is just what it holds.
Gotcha.
So if I check this out, if I get rid of the dot value now here in the console log, I get this interesting
Okay.
little
Let's have a
thing,
look at the entire object. Yeah.
a ref implementation. Let me zoom in, enhance, which has all these things, but most importantly, it's got a value.
Right. And
Um,
there are no
and
other.
some,
There are no other. If you just, yeah, okay. Could you just put a debugger statement? We can take a look if there's any other functions on that reindeer. We can
yeah,
stop the execution somewhere. I don't know, in the template or
yeah,
whatever.
it is in the setup. We should now have reindeer. Yeah. Is it a ref? Yes.
Yeah. What else do we
How
kind
can
of need?
I?
After the dot, you should get. If you back up and just paste the dot once. There you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
So
So
to
his ref
string, you
is
have the regular
shallow.
stuff. Value
That
of.
could be dependencies. Some of these things you'll see when we get more advanced, they kind of automatically register dependencies. So you don't like in use effect and React where you need to feed it. It's kind of dependencies if you want it to be reactive based on those state variables or what have you. You need to declare them in an array, but I think this is done automatically for certain directives. And then
Gotcha.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's the most ref, the most basic one, right?
Yeah.
But we wanted a list of animals. So I'm gonna take our beloved reindeer, and now we have a nice little animals list. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of this and this and this. And what I'm interested in doing is, of course, iterate, right? So that is done inside. I'm going to use an unordered list. I don't care so much about the order. And then in my list item, I'm going to use a specific view directive. So I'm going to say v4, and that opens up the parentheses. Now, in these parentheses, I can write JavaScript. And I can say for animal in animals list. And now, whatever I do inside of these two tags, I can say, well, I mean here, okay, it's not so exciting. I'm just going to do an H1 so we can see it nice and clear. Open up some mustaches, and I can say, hey, just animal, okay? And if I did this correctly, we should see a nice list of animals. Did I kill the server? Okay, here we go. So this is, and when we do this in React with JSX, I don't mind it. I like that it's kind of, it forces you to, even though React is unopinionated, I feel like it forces you to think in this kind of component-based way where you're abstracting a lot of things into components whenever you get a chance. I like React for that reason, but I also like this for different reasons. I like this because you live and breathe, even though this is component-based, you're sort of living and breathing still in HTML. And it kind of forces you to think about one of the main pillars of the internet in a way that like React kind of removes you from, maybe a bit too far sometimes. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like when I was learning React, I had such a hard time grabbing data from forms. And you'll see in a second, but like in Vue, the idea in React for me to use a standard form tag and use an on-submit there was like, it wasn't intuitive. Had I been working in, this kind of milieu all along, it would have been a different tune, I think.
Have I been a bad parent to you?
No, not at all. This is a personal failing. It's not your failing. Come on.
I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Busted my balls over here. Okay, so we've used some ref. We've cycled through a list, but I'm interested in doing something a little bit more ambitious, right? Like let's add a on click, and let's see if we can like try to do some conditional rendering when you click on an animal. So maybe in this animals list, we're gonna break things, okay? We're gonna say, hey, you're actually a list of objects, and we'll say name, and God, I'm already regretting what I'm doing. Hang on. Okay, you're gonna have name and the reindeer as well. Why am I doing this? Excellent question. So first of all, now I need to say animal.name. Let's check that. Yeah, looks good.
Why? Oh, okay.
That warning was from while I was typing, I think. But I want to give it a more abstract. So I'm going to say is fav or is favorite. I'm going to set this to false. I'm going to say is fav, set this to true. And lastly, on the reindeer, I'm going to say is fav and set this to false. Okay. So now we can see. So we have these objects, right? Now, what do we want to do? We want to say that if something has a favorite class, right? Then if they have the class favorite, we want to say that the color is going to be red, okay? Nothing fancy. It's nice that it's telling me you got 0 references to this class. So just to make sure that we are totally sane, if I say class fav, it says it's interesting, only 1 reference, but everything should have gone red. If I reload, oh, I don't have Sass. I don't want Sass. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay, so it's working. These are all turning red. Of course, we only want them to turn red, right, when favorite is true. So I don't want to say this, right? I want to give a conditional class thing, basically. And, you know, how do I do that? I can use a shortcut, but let's try not to use the shortcut. I think it is this way. So I'm going to delete this. It's a v bind, which is for data binding to specific attributes. So now I can access any of the HTML attributes inside of this tag. The one we're interested in is class, right? And I think just an equal sign. And now I can do some nice JavaScript. And let's say that I want to, and this is a little, I did this last night, I think, but this is a little counterintuitive, so we'll have to talk through this together. But I want to say, hey, fave, you know, if the animal is fave, then you should give it a class of fave. And so I'm binding that class to the animal, and you see that's working without warning, right? That's nice. We can, because programmatically binding specific attributes to HTML is so common, this is the VUE shortcut. You don't need to say vbind. Just know that if you see a colon like this in VUE, it's a vbind always. They have one as well for von, which is like clicks and stuff. It's the @ sign, but we'll get there. Yeah, so we have now some conditional class, because you should have, okay, no. Usually it just lets you select it. Okay, I've angered my Chrome browser, I'm sorry. But that's interesting, right? But I said let's try to toggle fave, right? Let's do a const toggle fave is equal to a callback. You can probably guess what I'm going to do now. I'm going to say, okay, you're passing in something. In our case, it's going to be an animal. And now I'm not sure how to do this, but I think if we do just animal.isFave, set that to whatever the value was not before. If we use it as an on-click inside of these list items, should allow us to just toggle the animal. So let's do be on. Click. Oh, I'm getting tooltips. That's great. And now I want to run toggle fave, and I want to pass in the animal that's been clicked on as the argument, right? Save this, reload just in case. Does it work? Yeah. I'm now changing the state. Isn't that nice?
That's nice.
The fact that that this automatically knows that I'm referencing the animals list because I'm inside of this for loop. It just feels like they've thought a lot about the scope and how to make your life as easy as humanly possible while still staying performant. So anyway, that's a little thing I like.
I like it.
Well, you know, we're not reinventing the wheel here. This is most intro tutorials, but that's what we're doing, so that's okay. Yeah. What else should we do? Slots, right? Slots.
Yeah, slots. Right.
What the heck is a slot? Well, if you now, let's say that we have another component, and we'll say it's polar animal details.view. Oops. Here, we're going to mess around with slots, and we're going to mess around with passing props, and maybe try to do an emitter as well. So first of all, I need to do a vbase3 with setup. That's what I want. I do not want the SESS, the SAS, turns out. I prefer the script to be all the way on top. Okay. And then in my polar animals list, let's first of all import this component. Actually, let's see if we can. Probably guessing what I'm trying to do, but we'll see. Let's not do it inside the UL right now. Let's just say I want the polar animal. Can I get that? Polar animal deep now. Okay, if I open a tag, do I get it for free? Yep. Oh, love it. Okay, that's not how you write that. Oh dear. I should be fired. And you should just have nothing in there. So let's say, just for sandwich's sake, hello details. Sorry, I meant to do a Command Z there. Okay. Right, hello details. We have loaded in the component. Nothing strange there. It's expecting exactly as we expected to. Let's pass in a message. And say this is a parental message. So now it's a little tricky. We just looked at this, but we need to define props. Do we get this for free? Okay. I'm just going to say, oh, go away. Define props. Do I need to import define props? I hope not. Message is a string. And I then change this to message. So I need to do, oh yeah, that works. So this is a parental message. I didn't say required true, it's a little bit simpler. I wonder if I could just say message. Apparently not. Not like that. Okay, so it requires a message. I should have gone to the console to see the error message, but okay. What is a slot? Well, let's say that I put a slot tag here after the and then I do need to close it as well. I have a slot tag under the message. If I open this parent component up, like so, polar animal details, thank you very much. And I didn't need an extra one. I do need to close this though. Come on. Wow, that's really convenient, guys. Thank you. Close these files so we can see what we're doing, right? So now we have the possibility of passing down a p tag, for example, and say, hello, I'm some slotted content. Okay. This, because I'm passing it in as a kind of, child component to polar animals details, as long as I have this slot, I should now see it in my on my page, in my view, rather, I should say, which I do. So, that's a way to, it's a way, I guess, to preserve state a little bit, because you can do this, programmatically and make some interesting decisions about how your components function. This is similar to what we did in React Router, which was a pain to set up, but now I can't remember what they call it. But it's kind of like overflow or something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, you get the point. Yeah, What else should we do? I said emitters, right? Like we
Yeah.
have now. I'm gonna have to cheat and look this up because I can't remember exactly. But basically, we have some stuff here. We want to emit something to the parent.
And then with emit, you like emitting like an event, or what are we talking about here?
I think VUE uses emit. Though correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. VUE uses emit as like pushing state from a child to a parent.
Okay.
Like you pass down props, but for some reason you emit up to a parent.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But I have, of course, forgotten how to do that. So I'm going to have to look and see if we can. Let's look at the docs real quick, cheat a little bit, do a search for emit, right? Emits, declare custom events. Well, so they are events. Okay, okay. They are events.
Okay.
And let's see how they've done it. They basically define their emits. And then, oh, but this is, I feel like these these docs are sort of written as, well, first of all, here's all the TypeScript, but they're written with the export default. Oh, here's the object syntax, but we're not really doing, we're not really doing export default in our new Vue 3 Markdown. But what we could do, which is a really fun thing that's really hard in React, but really easy in, it's not hard in React, but it's exceedingly easy in Vue, is to create a new component. Let's go here. We're going to do a sort of mouse over events. Mm-hmm. That's a nice one. So let's create a new component that I'm going to say call mousebox.view. And we'll do a little vbase again. Setup. Don't want you. I want the script on top. I'm sure there's a setting to change that. And we'll do a div, give it a class of box, okay? And then I'm gonna steal some CSS that I wrote yesterday, or that I got from a very nice tutorial, to be perfectly honest. If I still have it, maybe I do not. It's annoying if I deleted it. No, it's here. Okay, I'm going to steal this CSS. Thank you, Mr. Net Ninja. You're a genius. Which just gives us, okay, a box, a certain size, padding, text alignment. So we actually should put some text in. Hello, I'm a box. It gives us a margin and, you know, most importantly, a different background, slightly grayish. So we should not see anything yet because we're not importing it. But so in my home view, say, hey, in addition to this, I want you to grab the mouse box is what it's called. There you are. Did I get the import for free? Yes, I did. So now if I go back to the page, hey, hello, I'm a box. Right? We have this gray box. Isn't web development grand?
That's fantastic, man. That's fantastic.
It's fantastic. Wow, amazing. But that's kind of boring, right? Like we're interested in clicking mouse events. I think we'll do let's start with a just a simple console log on mouse over maybe, which we can do in our markup. So let's close that. Let's close a whole bunch of stuff. This has gotten out of hand. Okay, just the mouse box. That's all we want. And here, we have access to all of our VUE directives. The one we are interested in now is a V on, right? V on. And we're interested in a click. And that gives us access to pretty much all the events actually all the events. Some are more performant than others. Avoid mouse enter. So let's do a mouse over. And hang on, am I forgetting this? Am I doing this wrong? It's not a click, it's a mouse over. Gosh. Mouse over, right? And we'll call this function, what should we call it? Handle. Yeah, handle mouse over. Okay. And let's, in our setup, do a little const handle mouse over, have it be a function, put the debugger in there. This is gonna be a little bit strange. Let's reload this to get any warnings. And when I move the mouse over it, we're in the debugger.
All right.
And let's put the event into the debugger. Reload this so that I can access it. Boom. Okay, let's go to the console and look at this event. Right, it's a mouse event. And it gives us all of this data. And that's fantastic, right? I'm interested in...
Yeah, so what I like about this, all of this stuff, whether it's React or Vue, it's that it's JavaScript, so, and JavaScript is event based, and so you can do a lot of things because we are building user interfaces, and events are imperative for that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty handy. I can say right now I have the debugger, but let's just say you can say console log the event dot what did I say? I was interested in maybe offset X, and do the event and offset Y. And now if I reload this, let's see if I'm clever enough. Yeah, okay. So it doesn't, okay, it's updating when I move in, out, and back in. I get the kind of coordinates of my cursor. I think we could maybe use a different event, a browser event called mouse move. And I'm not going to change the name of the function, even though that would be good. But now we're just messing around, right? So now, hey, look at all that.
You can get coordinates. All right, so you can. All right.
You can probably guess where I'm going with this. So let's say that I wanted to save this in a ref. So I just really want. Did I get it? Import ref from Vue. Yes. Okay, great. I do get it for free. So let's say const x is equal to ref 0. Okay. And const y is equal to, is equal to ref. Can you guess what I'm going to do? Okay, so X and Y, right?
So you're going to display. Okay.
I'm going to say, hey, hello, I'm a box. It's not interesting. Let's say, let's put X and then M dash. Everybody
How
wants
about
an M
string
dash.
interpolation? Can you string interpolate here?
I think I can. Let's try it. The X, okay, I'll just do this. X is, and then X, yeah, and then can I format this? And then let's do the same here. Y is and then do a little string interpolation, y. Okay, bum, bum, bum. Of course, now we're just logging, right? We want to say x dot value, and we want to spell value correctly, is equal to the event dot offset x. We want to say y dot value is equal to event dot offset y. Code format this, and let's reload. And look at that.
Gotcha.
It's working.
It is. Yeah. That's fantastic, man.
Get rid of this. Yeah, so the on submit is equally nice, and actually they've done an extra special thing where there's something called what is it called? They basically allow you to do the input and the value at the same time, which I've struggled with in React a lot of times. I think it's V model. Yeah, V model. So shall we do? Shall we?
Like an input field in the how do you mean?
I will show you. Examples of Vue directives. Terrible commit message, but we'll do it anyway. So let's say that we in our make a new component and say should we say interest form view. Okay, vbase3 setup. And now I'm getting too lazy to move the script tag, so I'm just going to say, hey, this, you're not a div, you are a form. And I'll leave action blank for now. And form, you're going to have an input field for text and placeholder there. It says your name. And then we can do an input field with, that's a lot, placeholder, your favorite animal. Okay, so we just have a form that just has two inputs, and I realize I'm not doing any styling, so we're not living up to our promises, but maybe that's part two.
That's going to be part two. No drama. No drama.
Yeah. No drama. And let's change this about view so that instead of pointing to an about, I want you to point to. I can't give this. Nah, let's not do that. Let's just say, hey. And I probably need to import this now in a setup. Yeah, I need here to add a script tag with the setup keyword, and I need to say, hey, grab the interest form. Okay, so I got the import. Don't really care about the style because we're gonna experiment with the styling library. And so now, just doing this, if I go to /about, I should get a form. Yeah, your name and your favorite animal. Okay. Our router is working. But this is kind of boring, right? We need to store this. We need to fire it off, yada, yada. And for that, we're going to do a V model. Now, we can, okay, now we actually will bring this up. We can use debuggers heavily here to figure out what's going on, which is nice. And the first thing I will do is do a const called handle submit so that I can submit, so that I can see what's going on. And this should probably take an event argument. And this should take a debugger inside of it. And right now, of course,
You need
I
to
want
add
to
a
do this with
non-submit
VUE,
also.
right?
Huh?
So I'm going to say at, and instead of doing a v on, I'll use the shortcut. And I think I can just say submit. And then I can say handle submit. Okay.
Oh, it's a string. Okay.
All
right, gotcha.
Yeah. And this, I can do JavaScript in here. I can say on submit, console log, form submitted. Let's see if this works.
But you don't have a submit button yet, do you?
I do not. Let's add
So you
a
just do
button.
input submit, input type, yeah, or yeah. Did you have to say type submit or something?
I might have to do that. No,
Yeah.
no, that
You have to
works.
prevent default
Now
too,
notice,
right?
yeah, and this is cool. There is a built-in prevent default here. I say prevent or just default. No. This I need to look up. So this I need to look up because I thought it was so cool, but then I immediately forgot it. So submit. Yeah, I do need to give it a type submit, but that didn't help at all. So let's do a v model. It's a built-in directive. Creates a two-way binding before input element on component. So it's limited to input select and text area, but also components. Lazy, number, and trim. But I was hoping to see what the actual. Maybe I need to look up a v on, and in v on I should see there dot prevent. There we go. Dot prevent is a modifier that calls, but let's see it in action. So submit dot prevent. Let me navigate over to our little application. If I click on submit now, we're all good. And we're getting this error because I have inserted something that you're not supposed to in a native event handler. Let's change that to our function and so let's just say this is the reference to function. If I submit now, the debugger is hit. So that's good. However, of course, I look at this event. Let's clear the console. I look at this event, and probably doesn't have too much data. It has an event target, which should have no value. It should be undefined, and they don't have IDs, so that doesn't matter, right? But let's try to use this v model. So I'm going to say, okay, find v model, and I'd love to just see. Right. So here, instead of giving it a binding of value and an event, so let's do that first. Let's say, hey, you are, let's say, first name. And when your input changes, then first name, God, this is awful. First name becomes, and now you need to use, see, this I don't like. I need to use a $sign to access the actual event and target value. Let's format the code. So first name is equal to, oh, no, this cannot have spaces in it because it's
you still got red on
I
it.
need to,
Why did you get red on it?
yeah. I need to give it a name, and I think I need to call it first name. No, really? Oh no, sorry, value, and then first name. Yeah, right. So the value of this input field has a data binding. This is a v bind to something called first name.
Okay.
Then, if there is a change in the input in this field,
yeah,
this function is run, or this expression is evaluated. And so it grabs the value, event target value, which again needs this $sign, very annoying. And it assigns it to first name, which means, in theory, I don't know if I need to give this the argument of first name or if I can just now access it inside of handle submit. Let's try it. So reload this. Let's say max. Let's submit this. And what do I have access to now? If I just do, oops, sorry, first name, I should not be defined in my mind. And event dot target dot children dot first dot children first.
No, you can't do that.
No, I
say
can't do
children.
that. Dot children 0.
No, just children really? And hard bracket 0.
Dot
value.
Yeah, max. Okay. So that's kind of how I've been grabbing data in React when I'm doing a form. I have like a couple of these.
Yeah, unless
however,
unless you can also bind. Just to be fair, you can also bind a non-change event to the input form and update the local state. Right. So that's.
Yeah. And now, but note, we're not using local state yet. I mean, that's the direction we're heading in. Because then. I wonder, well, we'll see. So, okay, this works, but we're interested in using their shortcut, right? We're interested in exploring vModel for search text. And so let's do that. It's not a data binding, it sits by itself. So vModel equal to, and there I just declare first name. And I'm curious, I mean, obviously this is going to have the same, but not obvious, but let's make sure. If I now look at event target, yeah, that's max, it grabbed it, but I wonder, if I get first name, can I take first name as an argument here? Because that would be really nice. That would be really nice. Oh, I'm fine. So that's not how that works. There is a. So I wonder if I can bind this instead to the component state. I think I should be able to do that. I think I should be able to do that. No, this is computed. We haven't touched on that yet. But I can't remember. W. So let's try with a ref and just see how it reacts. And we'll say const start as nothing. If I keep this as v model, will it first of all render? Yeah. And if I submit this now, did it change? Okay, that's too much to read. Did it change? Did it change first name? Probably not. Can't access first name in here. All right. I think I'm misusing the poor V model. I think so. Let's look at this. That's where we were just at. Okay. So they are, I mean, this is update as well. It's not just find
But don't you like is this in the you define props, this model, this something like that?
Yeah, but this is when you're sort of you're doing an input component, right? Like because emits is what it's passing back up, as far as I understand it. So here, you know, they're purposefully splitting them up so that, well, I guess you don't need to. Wow, that's kind of cool. They're splitting them up here so that you can emit it back up to the parent component, which is going to look like where you have the model. V model arguments. Oh, we can modify these names by passing an argument. So V model title and then say book title. If I did V model name, so let's see how they've done it. They say value title, but here there's no. Oh, okay, that's for the parent component. I see. I see. First name and last name. And here they're defining the props, which is kind of like, you know, variables that you're getting from the parent, maybe similar to refs. I don't hate this. I think we could get this to work, but I would like to do it the more. Oh, it can take modifiers as well. I don't know why they're insisting on passing them down as props. Like I was hoping to. Oh, is it because I did this? Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Wow. Okay, let's start over. Okay, we're setting up a ref as first name, and then we have first name in the V model. So will there be a conflict? That is question one. Okay. Now, first name is not defined. Of course, yeah, well, why am I trying that? So do I have to say, let's see here, V model example. We'll find a more simple example maybe than passing props down. Okay, view. That's view 2. This is where we were just at, right? Right, okay. So vmodel message, and now we have access to message inside of the markup. I don't want access to it inside the markup. I want access to it inside a function. Well, let's try that first. So let's just say we add a p tag here and say input is, and let's say first name. Okay. And I will not submit anything. We're just looking at this p tag. Okay. So let's go back to our application, reload it, and hello, and that's working. That's nice. Which means, right, if we have access to first name here, can I now rip this out? Should be able to. Hello? I cannot.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I put it back in. That's interesting.
Oh, there you go.
Because, yeah, no, but I put it back in. So that's because here, okay, let's go to the playground and see what they're doing above the example. So yeah. Okay, so they are saying, hey, do this message. And when this is changing, the message changes. So my question is, why is it that in my handle submit, I'm sort of stuck inside this form, but I don't get access to first name? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure there's something really simple. Like now, if I submit this, hello, first name is equal to hello. But where I'm in this debugger and handle submit, I just want access to first name. And this is a separate scope, right? What is the way to do this? Do I have to say this? Can I say that? This dot, no, I don't have this. I have ref.
You wanna give it a rest and figure it out at some point? I remember in the beginning of the stream we said that we should try to avoid getting into a.
Yeah, but this is fun.
I know, I got
All
you.
right, yeah, I'm gonna give it a rest. We don't even have any tests. We're just like experimenting. I mean, that's.
But this, I mean, from what I see, so here's my take on this, and
Yeah.
it's like, I think that it's a fantastic, framework. I think a lot of things could be done in a much easier way than they are done in React. I think that it's another tool. It overlaps React, of course, a lot.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about the stuff that I've built in React. The projects I've made. Would my life have been made easier if I learned Vue and made them with Vue? Could I develop faster? And so I don't really see it yet. You know how
No.
I am. I'm a very lazy person, which means that I want to write as little code as possible and get the most value for it. And
Yeah.
I love making progress. What can I say? I don't know. I think
think
that it's great.
it is really neat. I think one big elephant in the room, which like is something that in the bootcamp we have to address, is that we got to make those students as employable as possible, and there are a lot, not a few, not many, a lot of React jobs out there. For your first, like, be a React dev, like that's a front end developer position, like that's reasonable. So I love this, but I'm just starting out. Like it's too soon to really say to give a preference. It's enough to keep going for sure, but I don't think it's intuitive. Let me put it this way: I don't think it's different enough, or the job market is hot enough in the Vue world to merit a change in like doing a full stack bootcamp
Yeah. So I
from
mean,
a change away from
our
React.
viewer that made some comments here, the Neverworld, uh, wrote that Vue is fantastic. React is like PHP, which is it hurts my chest. No, but you know, because
Sick
I
burn.
really loathe. But anyway,
Yeah.
I am. I'm not there yet in any way to be able to make
Mm.
such a statement. I would love to do a project in Vue, and I think it's powerful. It's extremely powerful, but so is React. You know, but they can be powerful in different areas and so on. I'd love to do a project in Vue, of course, and I will. You know, I've taken some notes, and I will build a small. You know, everything starts with Hello World, so I need to do that, and I'm going to experiment um, with Vue myself. I love the tooling. I think that's great. Um, and I will take a look at. And I think perhaps we can do that in the next stream. I could drive, or I could hold the keyboard. We can do a lot of stuff. I definitely want to look at Pina for the state management, right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, we
this
do.
I mean this is a great first insight to Vue. You've done a fantastic job in explaining stuff, and I love it. I love it, my friend.
Fantastic is a strong word, but you're very nice. It is fun. It's just
Well, yeah,
it's great.
don't sell yourself short there, man, because
Hmm.
explaining these topics and going through. I mean, you were very thorough in going through the different parts. I think you've done a fantastic job. So yeah, uh,
Yeah.
suck it in,
Oh well.
brother.
Yeah, I'll say it. Thank you. We'll keep going, and yeah, I think on the horizon, Pina for sure, which I haven't touched at all. So really flying blind there. And then secondly, be fun to see this Vue implementation of semantic,
Yeah,
because you and I both have a lot of experience with semantic React, and like I know all the cool kids on the block are not using kind of component library CSS
yeah,
products anymore, but it is really good for rapid application development and prototyping. There's
yeah,
no way around that.
yeah,
And yeah, it'll just be because there we can really talk differences, like because it's kind of a very specific application. Semantic, of course, you can use with almost
yeah,
anything, but
yeah. And that's gonna
yeah,
be
it'll be
that's gonna
interesting.
be an interesting. I think tomorrow morning when we hook up, hopefully same time, nine ish,
Yeah, yeah,
uh, our time, Central European time.
yeah.
It's gonna be yeah. I really it itches a little bit in my fingers. I wanna have a go at Vue and yeah,
Yeah.
and semantic and perhaps we can write some tests and also how it is with um, when you use component-based libraries like semantic, for instance, or any other, then
Hmm.
we're past the basic HTML. So you have to use data CYs, and you can run into some hurdles in terms of getting the elements and checking for values and stuff like that. It's going to be interesting to do that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Coolish, coolish.
Should be good. All right,
Yeah,
man.
that's gonna do it for us. I just
Yeah.
want to promote. No, we spoke extensively about your whereabouts. Uh, I've been busy doing my sheep stuff. We're not only programmers; we're vagabonds, as
This is
Max
true.
here,
Yeah.
and I am, an amateur shepherd. So I just got myself some fantastic sheep, and we're documenting everything on YouTube. We just set this up yesterday evening, so we have the amazing amount of 2 subscribers. Um,
Yeah.
uh,
Guilty.
yeah, please add us somehow, to this thing. So let's see if I can post the link to this. No, I can't. Apparently, no, I can't. Anyway, you can find it online. Gustav Gordon. That's Swedish for
Yeah.
my hobby. And so what I will do now, right after this stream, I will pack up, get myself into the car, and feed those little suckers with some vegetables and some
Nice.
some food. My brother, take it easy with the Arctic cold. Have a nice jog. Call me up
Thanks.
on your cell so I can see that fantastic
Will
time.
do.
All right.
Will do.
All right. Take it easy, everyone.